Folks, this brother is so hard to catch up. We've been trying to get him a Washington Watch for a long time, and I had to do so. Come all the way to California to the 2011 All-Star Game to hook up with Russell Simmons. He's got a new book out. It is Super Rich, A Guide to Having It All. Russell, welcome to Washington Watch.
Thank you, brother. You know, I was in Washington, and I missed you.
I know that, so that's what I'm saying.
And
so
I called ahead and everything.
I
so
understand.
You're a little tough to catch as well.
Well, just a little bit, Let's jump right into it. I've heard many different interviews. I read different interviews. I talked to you on Tom Joyner Morning Show.
Yeah.
And your critics, the first thing they say, Russell, you got it all. You got money. You're getting paid. So how all of a sudden are you now deciding to tell people there's a different way to have it all? When you hear that, what do you say?
Well, I think that criticism is legitimate. I hear it so often. I don't think it makes real good sense since your mother and your father and your preacher, your rabbi, imam, or whatever,
right.
your prophet, your scripture, all told you that having it all comes from within. Mm-hmm. And so it's told to you over and over again. I mean, of course, people forget, but it's etched in stone. You know, it's in each prophet's mouth and each teaching. So this book is about the same truth that you already have etched inside you. The idea is to have it ring a bell.
Here's what jumps out. Because I was at a church in Dallas several years ago, and they honored the Member of the Year. This woman didn't have a car, didn't have much money, but the pastor said whenever somebody was sick, she was always at the hospital first. When his father died, she was there taking care of him. And what they talked about was, they said she had a prosperous spirit. Now, when people hear spiritual prosperity, what's interesting is this woman, the pastor said, she didn't have a lot of money, she didn't have cars, but her spirit was prosperous because she was a giving woman.
There is a point in the book that was tough for me because I wanted to make sure that people got this message. I didn't want to tell them that you could have a prosperous spirit and you would be happy and that was all. Because I know that is not attractive to a lot of us. Mm-hmm. A lot of us are entitled, we need to empower ourselves. And maybe if we believe at the end there's some payoff, then we'll start to walk a different path. I can remind you that, of course, the story of Puffy is in that book, the story of Leo Cohen, the story of Kevin Liles, the story of Julie Greenwald, the story of Michael Kaiser. All these people were my interns, became presidents. Right. The story of David Geffen as an intern working in the mailroom. All those stories are in the book. But those stories about people who went to work and they were focused on the present. They were giving. They were making sure everybody was better as interns. And when you make sure everybody's better as an intern, you study your craft, one day you're the leader. You're still a servant. But they look to you for leadership because you're making them better.
But the struggle seems to be, for a lot of people, they see it as 100% this, 100% that. So, for instance, I'll talk to people and they'll say, well, you know, I want to have a bigger house, want to have more money. And I say, look, I understand that. I get that. But if you don't have a sense of happiness inside, if you don't have a sense of contentment, then even when you get that, you still may not be content, you still may not be happy, and you still might be miserable.
See, I would contend, and this is people say this is more Eastern philosophy, but it's written in the Bible and the Quran and the Torah as well. The contentment is not partly inside as a result, and there is nothing on the outside that will make you happy. Money does not make you happy under any circumstance. Mm-hmm. Happy does make you money, though, this attractive giver.
What jumps out, one thing in writing this, where you said, wow, this is where I am today. This is where I used to be, and even I'm surprised about that growth, that evolution.
What I learned is that when I look back and I'm trying to explain what it is that promotes this kind of prosperity or this kind of happiness inside, I can look back now after having read scripture and look and say, well, this is what they mean. Like we talk about being awake or fully awake, and what I call super rich is a state of needing nothing. The same thing could be described, nirvana would be the state of needing nothing, or a state of yoga. Or Christ consciousness, a state of needing nothing. It's a blissful state. When does that happen? So there's a chapter called Work is Prayer, to make work your prayer. Because when I was making these records, all I could hear was the melody. I was focused on the melody. Every so often I might break focus. And I'd break focus and I'd think, wait till they hear this. I never thought, when till the money come?